morning and welcome to World Talks. I'm Stalia Strzemska and we're going to discuss the current situation in Germany. Demonstrations against the far right have been announced for today in the eastern German cities of Leipzig and Erfurt. All pre-election polls indicate that the AfD party will win the elections scheduled for next Sunday. To discuss whether the far right will come to power in East Germany and how dangerous it is, I am joined here this morning by Sergej Sumlenny of the European Resilience Initiative Centre. Good morning, sir. Thank you for agreeing to speak with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having invited me today.
So let me start with a quote from Foreign Policy. The country has its uneasy gaze fixed on September 1st elections in the eastern states of Saxony and Thuringia and the September 22nd elections in Brandenburg state, where there's every likelihood that the long sacrosanct traditions of the Federal Republic will be gutted. So what are some of the possible dangers following these votes?
Well, the situation which we are facing now is not a new one. We were moving towards this outcome for a longer time in Germany. And we could see that in the eastern German regions, we have 16 regions in Germany overall and 6 regions in the eastern part of Germany. The popularity of the far-right ideas grew up constantly year for year, elections for elections. And first, the total dominance of the alternative for Germany, the far-right party, was reached about 10 years ago in some districts in this part of the country, with the popularity of the party in these electoral districts of 30 up to 40%. Then the first major was elected from the AfD. And now we see that AfD is the most popular party in each and every electoral districts, in each and every of these regions, except of, let me say, 5 or 10 maybe districts. So if you look at the map is totally blue, which is the advertising color of the AfD. And for the elections you have mentioned in Saxony and Thuringia, we expect that the AfD would gain about 30% of votes, and that none of the current parties which are participating in the government federal coalition, the Greens, Social Democrats, and the Liberals, will even make it into the parliament. They will all be under 5%. This will create, by the way, additional votes for the AfD, because the votes of the parties which have not gathered 5% and have not passed into the parliament, they get split between the winner parties. So yes, the situation is now very serious, but nobody can say that the situation could not have been predicted 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
Right, Mr. Sumlenny, let me ask you, 30%, I mean, this will provide them with some real clout in governance. What are some of the policies that AfD is likely to push, some policies that are possibly dangerous to some groups?
Absolutely. And we need also to say that for the forming of the government, you need 50% of parliamentary seats. So they will need to go into coalition. And this is the tricky part, because if, for example, in Thuringia, 4 parties get into the parliament, probably, it will be very hard for them to form a 50% coalition without going into some compromise, but it's a technical question. So the AfD is a party of resentment, a party of people who are not happy with what is going around and want a radical change, an easy change, a simple change, and just want simple solutions because they're so angry and so disappointed. We can compare it with MAGA movement in the United States. It's anti-establishment, anti-government, anti-international cooperation, many things. And of course, it's far right. Of course, you have many members of the AfD were involved in racist attacks, were prosecuted for spreading far-right slogans. Even the head of the local branch, Mr. Höcke, he was once he tried to prove in front of the court that he may not be called a neo-Nazi. And the court say no. What has been presented, you may be called a neo-Nazi by your opponents. And recently he was also sentenced by minor sentence for spreading a former SS slogan during his press conference. Interesting is that the reaction of the party, their defense line is, no, we are not far right. You have misunderstood us. We are patriots. We are for a stronger democratic state, for rule of law, etc. But after the court sentenced Mr. Höcke for having spread a former SS slogan, at many gatherings of the AfD, open gatherings in the centers of the cities, members of the AfD started to chant the same slogan as the sign of their support. So yes, they say we're not for right, we're for rule of law, but at the same time, they clearly demonstrate as tongue in the cheek for what values they stand.
Sir, so how does the AfD compare with, let's say, National Rally or Brothers of Italy? And can we see this as a larger trend? I mean, all of these parties becoming more and more popular.
I would say, indeed, it's a larger trend, and their popularity is the reason of the political process moving around Europe. Let me say, anti-immigration rhetorics, all the fears of people when they look at the change in the social structure of the state. But at the same time, the AfD was kicked out in the European Parliament from the parliamentary group of the right parties, where, for example, Marine Le Pen party belongs. So they were too far right for Marine Le Pen, which is, I need to say, you need to earn this badge of honor. I mean, the far right. But once again, the people who vote for the AfD, they voted out of many reasons. Of course, many of them vote because they don't want to see migrants, and they don't want to see like this what they call the decline of the white Europe, or you call it whatever you want. But many people vote for the AfD because they don't see a problem on that far right ground, but at the same time they want to show the government that they're not happy with what is going on in their country. It's a very, from my perspective, it's a very naive and dangerous electoral election, but we cannot ignore the fact that many people vote for the AfD because they say, okay, like I don't like what is going on with the taxes. I don't like that the trains are not punctual anymore. I don't like that like my police doesn't work, that my bicycle has been stolen and police has not investigated. And they dream about like old good times where the situation was different, they believe. And that's why they vote for the AfD. And AfD knows perfectly how to exploit this disappointment. We know that currently the rating of the SPD, Social Democrat Party of Olaf Scholz, is 14%. Olaf Scholz is the worst popular chancellor in the history of a Federal Republic of Germany. And then comes the AfD and say, look, these people on the top of your government, they don't represent you, they just get money, and they visit international conferences. Annalena Baerbock from the Green Party forbids you to fly, or wants you to forbid to fly, but look, she flown like to Pacific region, and she flown there and there, and she flew to the football game during the World Cup, etc. They are all hypocrites. Vote for us, we're true people, we're for true values, and so on. And people tend to believe them in the age of social media and in the age of total disappointment of what is going on. And that is a danger, because the AfD has never hidden what is their goal when they come to power. And they discuss it in open chats, they discuss it on their platforms, and they say, when we come to power, we will be hard to those who were our opponents. We will not be democratic, or whatever you call it.
This is certainly interesting. But what about the opposite side of the spectrum, the extreme left? For instance, the Sahra-Wagenknecht Alliance, forgive my pronunciation. They're also gaining popularity, right? So can we see this increased polarization within Germany?
Absolutely, and to block Sarah Wagenknecht, which is very interesting because in Germany normally the constitution forbids the parties to be created from the top down, from top to the down, like what is called the Führer-style parties, with one leader who tells the party what to do. The party should be organized as a tool of peoples who want to influence the national politics or regional politics. And Bloc Sarah Wagenknecht is the opposite. It's a one-person party. And Sarah Wagenknecht has a huge popularity in Eastern Germany too, like 12 to 14% in different regions. And she is also a very interesting person. She was born in the GDR, in the former communist, so-called German Democratic Republic, because there was nothing democratic there. But she was kicked out of the communist youth movement in the GDR for being too far left. Just imagine that, being kicked out of the communist youth in the GDR for being too left. And now she also sells this absolutely arch-populistic agenda, with blaming all the elites, blaming everyone, telling the people how betrayed they are, how the life which used to be beautiful in the GDR is not anymore, etc. What is interesting for the both parties, they both are very pro-Russian, and they both have very strong links to Russia and to Russian government. The deputies of both AfD and the Left Party visited Russia-occupied territories of Ukraine, for example, not only Crimea, but also territories in Donetsk region. They all oppose very strongly delivery of military support, military help for Ukraine. They both are absolutely anti-American, anti-NATO, anti-Europe, and very pro-Putin. And if you look at their statements towards Russia and Ukraine, you will see no difference. They promote the same rhetorics, that this war had been started by the US and NATO, and that Russia has legitimate security interests, that Ukraine is a failed state, etc. Then you ask yourself, okay, if you have such strong links to Russia, if you promote the same agenda, there is no such difference between you on far left, far right. The result is the same, because you have the same fronts in the East. And that is also a sign that I don't want to say that these parties are completely owned by the Kremlin. They're not. But the Kremlin uses both parties as its tools to erode Germany's democracy. And of course, German government allows it to happen. Like it never happens in a situation in a vacuum that the federal government is doing everything good, and then like an enemy intelligence service comes and starts a cover operation. No, it's not the case. But Kremlin uses weaknesses of Germany, of German politics, and sets on the both parties, far left and far right, to erode Germany's democratic government. And if, for example, the AfD sets a prime minister in one of the regions, this will have a huge impact on also German foreign policy, despite the fact that constitution excludes regions from the foreign policy, but de facto they have their influence. And of course, they will try to sabotage pro-Ukrainian and pro-Polish also stand from the German side, and will try to promote Kremlin's agenda.
Right. Sergej Sumlenny, thank you, sir, for being with us this morning. Of course, we'll see what happens after September 1st. Thank you so much, and please have a good day.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank you for watching World Talks. Please stay tuned for more here on TVP World.